Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's jump into our cosmic weather, see what's going on today. Okay, solar wind, 362.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is at a 1. Not any expected any higher than that. Corona holes, we don't see any. M-class flare possibility, it's about the same as yesterday. Geomagnetic storm activity, about the same, not much of anything going on. So things are kind of quiet out there. Astrologically, remember we're in the new sun sign. The new sun sign, which is Libra. Libra is a air sign. So during this month, the conscious energy we're working with, the conscious mind, is air, Libra, all about balance, specifically karmic balance, the give and take of how things operate, legal issues come into play with justice. So think of air, communications, how we express ourselves, but how we express ourselves to balance out the issues and situations in our life. Now, underneath the unconscious right here, Aquarius, you would think that Aquarius, because it's the water bearer, is a water sign, but nope, Aquarius is not a water sign, it's an air sign. An air sign. So the water is like the air of life. You know, it's that kind of idea. It's not necessarily water, but it's energy, ideas, and there you have it. So that's underneath. Aquarius is kind of those new ideas, those new thinking. You hear the age of Aquarius. So it's that idea of that new thinking, of the new way, new movement, new time we're moving into. And that's what's going on there unconsciously. Let's move over here. Our current moon phase, 79% of the way full, making its way up to the full moon. And the Mayan Oracle, we're at a 3-tone day right here. 3 tones, the electric tone. Today's the sun, electric sun, guided by the seed. We're still in the wave spell, the mirror, where we will be dealing with the reflection for another week or more, actually more, 10 days. Phrase for today: I activate in order to enlighten bonding life. I seal the matrix of universal fire with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of flowering. And if we go back down here to the Tzolk'in to see where we're at the very bottom of this column. So we're moving to the beginning of the top of the next column starting tomorrow. And this period of time is that voided out, that middle period, that central column. So those are always interesting times whenever we arrive there. On the Gregorian calendar, it is the 25th day of September, and the year is 2012. 2012. So yesterday, brought up a couple issues about 2012. I'm going to keep doing that every day. We are now 87 days away from December 21st, 2012. So, what we talked about yesterday was just basic ideas about 2012. First of which, easiest thing, probably most or a lot of folks are going to do, is just dismiss the whole thing. Skeptics will just deny it's not going to exist, nothing's going to happen, the date will come and pass. Okay. Second thing we discussed is that there is a lot of people, a lot of prophecy, a lot of information about 2012, specifically December 21st, that will have people considering what's going to be going on that date. So just because you have a lot of people thinking about something means that the possibility of something happening does exist. So these are two things that are going on. Now, with all of the information going on, we can choose to deny or we can choose to look at what's going on. Since all the prophecy does point, and it's not just one piece of prophecy, it's over and over. We can find so much information about it. Since it does, we could do well to look into what this information is about and see how we might understand what's going on. Because if indeed this is the case, between now and the next 87 days, there's a lot of activity that's going to be happening. Activity not only with the planet, but also with each individual on the planet, because nobody is immune from the changes. Even those who are out there in the administrations of the governments who think they're immune from the changes, nope, not immune from the changes. They will succumb to them just as everybody else does in the way that they do. So, are they learning? Are the higher-ups learning how to deal with the energy? I don't really care. Because if they don't know how to deal with it and they can't move forward with everything, it's better off for all of us. So, what's going to go on in this time period? Are we about to go through some really rocky times? Is the Earth going to be shaken up and that kind of thing? Well, if it doesn't happen, there's certainly going to be a lot of skeptics saying, see, nothing happened. There's definitely something happening, folks. And it's happening on subtle levels, in addition to the physical levels. So, the reason I'm bringing up now and given the 88 and now 87 day count, and we're going to keep talking about this, is to really make sure we're prepared. Seems that since so many have talked about December 21st, 2012 for such a long period of time, seems that the best thing we can do, seems that the least we could do is to make sure that we're prepared. Considering that it's only 87 days away from where we are now, what else we've got to do? Especially if this is such an important time-changing event for our lives, it would be well for us to pay attention. So, that's the objective. Keep paying attention on what's going on. Yesterday I played Terence McKenna. Today I'm going to play another piece on Terence McKenna. This is a piece that was visually enhanced by a YouTube user called Felipe Sparks29. Anyway, this is Terence McKenna talking about 2012. Here we go.
Can you expand on the 2012 date and this whole idea, what's going to be happening in your idea?
Well, I talked this morning about how the story of the universe is that information, which I call novelty, is struggling to free itself from habit, which I call entropy, and that this process, which informs the whole history of the universe on all scales, chemical, biological, cultural, etc., is accelerating, speeding up. And it seems as if what wants to happen is the whole cosmos wants to change into information, or put another way, in a geometric model, all points want to become connected. The thing is achieved through connectivity. The path of complexity to its goals is through connecting things together. Well, if that's true, then you can imagine that there is an ultimate end state of that process. It's the moment when every point in the universe is connected to every other point in the universe. And if that's what the universe is trying to do, to overcome its dissipate state, its spread out state, and somehow function as a unitary monad, then this point does not lie too far ahead of us in time, given the acceleration rates of all these technical processes. So, at least locally. So on one level, I think there is a cultural singularity. What I mean by that is a place in our cultural development where we can't predict or understand what will happen to us. A kind of flip point, if you want, or doorway, if you want, or revelation, if you want. And it's built in to the structure of space and time. It's that novelty in its emergence is now operating at such a fine scale that it's actually reflected in the lives of individual people. The human adventure has become the cutting edge of cosmic destiny. But it won't always be so. It will actually move through the human domain and into smaller and more rapid and compressed domains of concrescence, and probably in our lifetimes. And what will this mean, or what will it look like? It seems to me it's just not possible to say, because we're too far away from it, even though it's only 14 years in the future, if it's in 2012. Those 14 years are going to be so mutational, so transformational, that right now in time we can't see around the corner. We're summoning strange helpers to our aid. The machines that we had such confidence in controlling are actually a kind of intellect-y of some sort that is alive and with us in the historical continuum and evolving at a far faster rate than we are. And what all this leads to and how it works is very, very difficult to predict. And I'm not a paranoid. I think it's very difficult to predict. I think we wished for transformation. Western civilization built it into its cultural agenda. Science delivered far more than we ever dreamed in terms of understanding of matter and energy and space and time. And now, under the aegis of market capitalism, where everything is in a state of furious competition, somebody is going to put something together that is just going to completely redefine and rewrite the nature of reality itself. And my bet is it will be some kind of a technology. It could be a drug. It could be a machine. It would be nice to think that it might be a technique or a teaching, but just looking at the history of the human race, I'll bet you it's some kind of technology/drug type thing that is just going to be plugged in to us and our consciousness and our aspirations. And it may already be here. It may be the internet. It may be nanotechnology. It may be biotechnology and cloning and quantum teleportation and virtual reality and all the rest of this. I mean, we are just at the brink of taking these various pieces of the God-magician puzzle and putting them together and figuring out, well, what can you do? What do you do if you can do anything? I mean, that's really the question at the end of history. Once you have overcome all limitation, what is the human agenda? Yeah.
Do you believe then that this is something that we're observing, or we actually play a part in its development? So what is the purpose of these hallucinogenic experiences? Is it to get information so we can influence the outcome, or are we just watching?
No, I think we're more than watching. I think we spin it. We're the spin doctors of the thing. In other words, if there is a prophecy which must be fulfilled, it's a kind of general prophecy, something like, and man shall become dirigible in the last decades or the first decade of the third millennium. It's general. In other words, what does that mean? Man becomes dirigible. We turn into airships. We become oblate spheroids. We what? What does it mean? Well, that's open to human definition through specific acts of creation. The levels of novelty or habit in any given moment will be fulfilled, but how they're fulfilled is a matter of human decision. An example which maybe makes this clearer is from statistics. For example, we know that in the next 12 months, between 8 and 11 people will jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. But who those people will be is surely not decided today. They have the right, through the experiences they meet along the way to either include or disinclude themselves in that group of victims. So in that same way, I think the future, the details are ours to fabricate. The great landscape over which the city of time will be built is given by natural law. And where we are in time is very near this attractor. And then people sometimes object to this and say, well, don't you think it's a weird coincidence that we happen to be so near the attractor when presumably it could have been throughout time? Well, no, I don't think it's weird. I think the strangeness of our condition signifies the nearness of the attractor. That the reason our world is so accelerated, the reason all effects are being smeared toward Omega, is because of the nearby presence of this cultural black hole, this singularity of technology and biological intent that is feeding backwards into time these apocalyptic images. And I, would predict that between now and 2012 there will be ever more hysteria, prophecy, prediction, revelation, squirrely teachings, people bawling out their strange despair on every street corner, because in the collective unconscious of which each of us shares a part, the thing at the end of time is spinning like a club ornament, like a Christmas tree ball, like a bar ornament, and it's throwing off scintillations, which are distorted images of itself. The transcendental object at the end of time infects the history that precedes it with the images of its approaching unfoldment. This is what I mean when I say history is the shock wave of eschatology. The presence of history on this planet means that this thing is moving beneath the surface, this protean form that when it manifests, it will shed the institutions of history the way a butterfly sheds a chrysalis when it breaks out of its metamorphosis. But the period of latency, the period inside the shell for this metamorphosing super creature, is the 25,000-year season that we call human history. The fact that it's the same period of time as the precession of the equinoxes, I don't know, don't ask me. Fortune or coincidence.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO News for today. 5 stories. Story number 1 takes us to Oregon. It's a great UFO capture over Oregon. To date, perhaps the top video capture in the archive for 2012 and filmed using 3 camcorders. An amazing close-up of the UFO moving overhead with the unusual light array. In the H8 cam, light shimmer and go out, the configuration. So let's see here what we have. This is a 6-minute and 48-second long video. This is definitely a good capture, good image. Okay. Definitely this is a really good shot. So go over and check this out. The link will be available. Alright. Moving from there to the next story. This is a UFO, 3 UFOs photographed over the Middle East. Got the large one and 2 smaller ones. Between Dubai and London, these UFOs look similar to the pilot photos of World War II Foo Fighters. Okay, I was flying from Dubai to London, 2-3 hours into the flight. I go up and I went to the back, stretch my legs. I had to look out of the window and thought I looked beautiful, so I got my iPod to take a picture. Started taking the pictures, then I saw the lights and took the pics. Saw them out the windows in the pics. I genuinely don't remember how they disappeared, but I couldn't see them again after a while. I remember wanting to tell someone on a plane, but probably isn't the best idea. I didn't want to alarm my buddy. I spent a few minutes looking back at the pics and then went to sit back down. So there you have it. Pics from a plane. Now over Syria. This triangle object there. UFOs are seen over all parts of the world, and Syria is no exception. These glowing orbs are seen over the city of Dra on September 21st at 11:30 p.m. and caused many of the people to panic. The orbs are not in perfect triangle, which makes me think that this is not a single craft, but each orb is a separate craft. Alright. The video itself is just under 2 minutes, 1 minute 41 seconds. So what's happening comes together in a relatively short period of time. And this is what they see over Syria, wondering what the heck that is. Okay. Now, next one here. This is fast UFO seen over Antarctica. Excuse me, over New Zealand. Alright, this witness reported that when skywatching on the 23rd, the actual event is just over 2 seconds. The video slowed down about 20% of normal speed. Turned off the audio as part of the birds' songs. The only sound is saying what. Okay, how it surprised them. So we're looking through. Right here is the object. It's moving slower, as he said, 20% of what it was moving. Okay, that's our sighting over New Zealand. And then remember the story of the alleged battle going on over outside of San Francisco. Remember we talked about. Well, anyway, here's some more information about it. Extraterrestrial War, Archons spread UFO terrorism propaganda. UFO sighting daily reports on the 20th of September that the U.S. Military and Foreign Affairs Journal published an article on 17 September that an Asian intelligence agency reports that a combined fleet operation between the U.S. and China has been going on, a full combat operation against what we are told is a highly unfriendly extraterrestrial threat. Are the contents of the article here a sort of Battle of Los Angeles and science fiction film inspired disinformation hoax which is spread to eventually discredit those sources who republished these statements as being wackos who spread false allegations, arguably based upon David Icke's and others' insights by exopolitics researchers like Dr. Michael Sella? The truth of the allegations in veteranstoday.com articles perhaps less important than the possible agenda of the interest to have these spread these allegations in the first place. If the article is not simply comprised of rumor mill allegations, these extraterrestrials that the establishments that spread eventually deny, then what? Dr. Lass has published insights on medhistory.org which suggests that the UFO war allegations is part of the psychological warfare tactic of the Archons. Dr. Carl Rosen's testimony also concurs. UFO sightings daily is coordinated by Scott C. Waring, who is a UFO researcher and author who has become an honorary astronomer through an independent investigative research on anomalies in space and on planets like Mars. Mr. Waring has been affiliated with the United States Air Force. At Sept base, he currently owns an ESL school in Taiwan. Mr. Waring put out the following disclaimer on Veterans Today article. Aliens have bases on our planets for hundreds of thousands of years or more. So what could possibly make the military feel that the aliens are a threat? It is apparent that Archons want us to believe at least two things. At first, that we, as humans, should believe that the very educated interests that prevail over Earth's militaries are as naive as aliens about the general public, and that the elites also apparently believe that their navies on waters are a sufficient defense against a supposed extraterrestrial threat from space or from below the ocean. The second thing that we as humans are apparently to believe is that humanity stands alone against a monolithic hostile alien threat. For example, humanity is without potential allies in the universe, and implicitly, if we as humans want to protect our planet, we must support militarization. Alex Collier, who is a voluntary contactee of ethical extraterrestrials, suggests that the Archons have sought to oppress ethical extraterrestrials from having contact with humans who might elevate the social consciousness of the humans that would render humans to be less controllable by elites. Okay, so Archons want to stop the aliens from talking. What are you going to do about all the aliens that are already here, Archons? Can't stop us all. We're going to keep talking. So that problem, that situation of yours isn't going to work so good. Now remember, I brought this up. I said this could be a propaganda thing. Because doesn't it seem kind of fishy? You hear that there's a battle going on out there, but then you don't hear anything else. Something like that. A battle on Earth between our U.S. military and an extraterrestrial aggressive force. I think that would make the news. People would know. People would see. It wouldn't just be a hidden thing behind, in a couple of stories that's out there. So, propaganda. I agree. Why would there be this propaganda? I'm going to bring up this theory. It's a very simple theory. You may think I'm nuts, but it doesn't really matter. Antichrist, Obama, Luke chapter 10, verse 18, translation that he beheld Satan as Barack Obama. Now, you say that that's an incorrect translation. Well, I say to you that that may be, but there is at least one translation out of the numerous or other possible translations. There's one translation that says Satan Barack Obama. And those words come from Jesus, who during the course of my lifetime, my time here on the earth, I've been told to listen to Jesus. Those words are written, not only spoken by Jesus, but also in the Bible, in a book I've been told since I've been here to read. So, with all of these coincidences, I think that, okay, very important. Now, down here on Earth, you have humanity, humankind, which wants to say shoot at the extraterrestrials. Yet the ones who are shooting are saying to shoot and putting out the stories that are propaganda stories are all coming from sources of government sources or media sources or places that seem to want to spread this agenda. Flip side of that, you got the Bible and you got the same book that we were told to pay attention to. You got Jesus saying he's going to be returning in the clouds. Well, guess what the clouds are? Guess what comes in the clouds? Extraterrestrials, flying saucers, things of this nature. So, I think that is a good possibility that, as planned, Jesus shall be returning to the planet, that Jesus will be coming with a lot of others, that there will be spaceships that will be involved, that they are the good guys, and that those on the planet that are here during the time when the Antichrist is alive and well, as signified simply by the mention of the name Barack Obama, doesn't mean he is the Antichrist, but certainly that with that person alive during that time, an indication certainly that we are in the correct time. So we have the Antichrist on Earth, the Antichrist energy, which is saying to shoot at the aliens coming down, which could potentially be Jesus coming back down to the planet. That is my theory. Take it for what it's worth. I don't believe that the Antichrist energy is going to succeed. I know it's not going to succeed. Let me take it to that next level. It's just what we have to get through. Because when more people believe that that's not going to, they're not going to succeed, then the energy will go out to stop it. That's all it is. It's a matter of belief, a matter of faith. So we don't want to get caught up in all of this propaganda that they put out, because propaganda comes from a variety of sources, and it's not an honest way of looking at things. It's not being honest with the people, and quite frankly, people should be offended that this propaganda is put out because somebody thinks that the people on the whole are so stupid and so not paying attention they can put this out and fool them. Well, I think people are paying attention more and more, despite the fact that I, oftentimes give grief to what's going on in the world. I think people are paying attention a bit more. They don't always know exactly what, but at least they are understanding that there are issues that need their attention, and they do seem to be caring some degree. So that's a good thing. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on this. That's our UFO news report for today. I'll be back momentarily.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
All right, continuing on. Okay, Ron Paul, this is his weekly report.
All with your weekly update for September 24th. One of the most enduring myths in the United States is that this country has a free market, when in reality the market is merely the structural shell of formerly free institutions. Government pulls the strings behind the scenes. No better illustration of this can be found than in the Federal Reserve's manipulation of interest rates. The Fed has interfered with the proper function of interest rates for decades, but perhaps never as boldly as it has in the past few years through its policies of quantitative easing. In Chairman Bernanke's most recent press conference, he stated that the Fed wishes not only to drive down rates on Treasury debt, but also rates on mortgages, corporate bonds, and other important interest rates. Markets greeted this statement enthusiastically, as this means trillions more newly created dollars following directly to Wall Street. Because the interest rate is the price of money, manipulation of interest rates has the same effect in the market for loanable funds as price controls have in markets for goods and services. Since demand for funds has increased but the supply is not being increased, the only way to match the shortfall is to continue to create new credit. But this process cannot continue indefinitely. At some point, the capital projects funded by the new credit are completed. Houses must be sold, mines must begin to produce ore, factories must begin to operate and produce consumer goods. But because consumption patterns have either remained unchanged or have become more present-oriented, by the time these new capital projects are finished and begin to produce, the producers find no market for their goods, because the coordination between savings and consumption was severed through the artificial lowering of the interest rates. Both savers and borrowers have been signaled into unsustainable patterns of economic activity. Resources that would have been used in productive endeavors under a regime of market-determined interest rates are instead shuttled into endeavors that only after the fact are determined to be unprofitable. In order to return to a functioning economy, those resources which have been malinvested need to be liquidated and shifted into sectors in which they can be put to productive use. Another effect of the injections of credit into the system is that prices rise. More money chasing the same amount of goods results in a rise in prices. Wall Street and the banking system gain the use of the new credit before prices rise. Main Street, however, sees the prices rise before they are able to take advantage of the newly created credit. The purchasing power of the dollar is eroded and the standard of living of the American people drops. We live today not in a free market economic system, but in a mixed economy marked by an uneasy mixture of corporatism, vestiges of free market capitalism, and outright central planning in some sectors. Each infusion of credit by the Fed distorts the structure of the economy, damages the important role that interest rates play in the market, and erodes the purchasing power of the dollar. Fed policy makers view themselves as wise gurus managing the economy, yet every action they take results in economic distortion and devastation. Unless Congress gets serious about reining in the Federal Reserve and putting an end to this manipulation, the economic distortions the Fed has caused will not be liquidated. They will become more entrenched, keeping true economic recovery out of our grasp and sowing the seeds for future crises. Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on this number, 888-322-1414, every Monday. The written text can be found on my website, www.house.gov/Paul, under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.
Okay, very good. So, Dr. Paul's weekly message. All right, continuing on. So, this is one of these stories that just kind of is laughable. You know, there's all this talk about Mitt Romney and how he's just out of touch with people. See, I don't think Mitt Romney's a bad guy. I see Mitt Romney and I see somebody that has been brought up in a world that keeps his attention focused in such a way that he doesn't really see and experience a lot of what most other folks experience, you know, about middle American life and low-income life. I don't think he has any idea about some of these things. He lives in a sheltered world, and this story here kind of fits into that. Mitt Romney wonders why Ann Romney's airplane windows don't roll down. Mitt wants to know. Making post-fundraiser comments this weekend, presidential candidate Mitt Romney revealed a tenuous grip on the science of aviation, despite the fact that he and his wife Ann have been flying around the country this summer on the campaign trail. After his wife's plane was forced to make an emergency landing this weekend, Romney told the LA Times he was worried for her safety. The candidate then continued on a bizarre tangent that showed just how little the Republican nominee understands about flight. I appreciate the fact that she is on the ground safe and sound, and I don't think she knows just how worried some of us were, Romney told the paper. When you have a fire in an aircraft, there's just no place to go. Exactly. Romney said the biggest problem in a distressed aircraft is that the windows don't open. I don't know why they don't do that. It's a real problem. It's very dangerous. So Mitt Romney, presidential nominee, doesn't know why windows on an airplane doesn't roll down. But he will go out there and he will fix the economy. But he will be forever confused about the airplane issue unless someone explains it to him. I don't really have anything more to say about that story. I just thought it was funny that, you know, wag the dog, folks. Wag the dog is what's going on out there. They put these candidates out there. They're pretty clueless about life. They go out there. They have their sound bites, they say, their little phrases and things that they're told. But then when it comes to real life and they actually talk and speak and interact, you realize that they're so out of touch that they couldn't relate. You know, I know a lot of people that say that they support Romney or they support Obama or they supported Bush or Cheney. Yet I bet if those very same people actually met those people in person, I don't think they would like them. The people that tell me that they would vote for Mitt Romney, I don't think that they would like him if they met him in person. Not because he's a bad person, but because I don't think they could relate to him. I don't think he could relate to them, and vice versa. Yet people will stand behind what they have to believe in. Same thing with Obama. You know, pretty weird, pretty weird. Okay, moving right along here. This story is, this is James David Manning, and he always has something very insightful to say, so I like to check in every now and then and see what it is, and today is that day.
Ohio seems to be where all the focus is at now. Mitt Romney is leaving Colorado. If he's not already in Ohio, he'll be there shortly. Same with Paul Ryan, and same with the long legged Mac that's going to be in New York. He's in New York today. He's going to be on The View tomorrow. He's going to be speaking at the United Nations as well. So he's kind of off the campaign trail in terms of Ohio being a central bellwether swing state, battleground state. But on The View, he's going to get a lot of softball questions. They're going to act like they're arrogant about him, but it's going to allow him to reach the women's audience, which, because Obama is Obama has this, he is a pimp. He has a large majority of women, especially single women, that are voting for him. So The View is a great place to shore up his women's vote and to secure some of those women who may not have decided to vote for Obama because they fell out of love with him. They got themselves another pimp. I don't know who their next pimp is. But all these lonely women watching Oprah Winfrey and The View are going to be watching Obama, the long-legged Mac Daddy, on the so Mitt Romney is going to be in Ohio. The issue is this, is that whether or not Mitt Romney can win Ohio. Right now the polls are pretty definitive. Obama's leading by 5 points. Clear Politics has Obama at 48.8 and Mitt Romney at 44.7. The other polls have Obama at, I think, at 51 and Romney at 46. The other thing is that Obama has climbed above 51% in Ohio and in some national polls. Can Romney close the gap in the last 40 days of this campaign to be able to take Ohio? Because, you know, historically, no Republican president has ever won the White House without winning the state of Ohio. So Ohio is going to be a battleground state. The problem is, and for Romney, is that Ohio has a large population of auto workers. And you remember, Romney stated going back 3 years ago, let the automobile industry fail, let them go bankrupt. Do not give them any bailout money. And Obama bailed them out. General Motors is now profitable, turning a profit, paid back a large segment of the loans. Ford Motor never needed any money, but Chrysler also got a lift. And so there are literally hundreds of thousands of auto workers across Wisconsin, across Michigan and Ohio in particular, that are going to vote for Obama because they believe that Obama saved their jobs. So it's going to be hard for Romney to close that gap of the 5 percentage points. What I think Romney should do, were he to listen to me, here's what I tell him to do. Labor hard in Ohio as you possibly can, but I can tell you, you're probably not going to win Ohio. Go after Pennsylvania. Go into Pennsylvania, in between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and work that region and win Pennsylvania. If you win Pennsylvania, you effectively you cancel out the effect of Ohio, where I, advising Romney, and of course he should be listening to me, because obviously I know about what I'm talking about. I've never been wrong. You know I've never been wrong. You know I know what I'm talking about. I would, Romney, forget about Ohio. Go to Pennsylvania. Work Pennsylvania, like it's the last thing standing, and work Florida. He has Romney has a possibility of picking up Florida. Get Marco Rubio back out there. I don't know how much help he's going to be for you, but get all the other Spanish-speaking people. Get your son down there. Get Jeb Bush, and get down there and work Florida, work Pennsylvania, and you can win without Ohio. Stop Obama from winning Ohio. Stop Obama from winning Pennsylvania, and stop him from winning Florida. And then, of course, you got another headache as well. You got the headache of, is he going to win Virginia? Is he going to turn Virginia blue again? And very possibly North Carolina. But that's what's happening if you got your hopes of who's going, you're voting for Romney, or you voting against Obama, or you're praying against Obama. Those 4 states, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, Virginia, North Carolina would make 5. That's where it ought to boil down to. Can Romney find a path to win the presidency? It's a very narrow one. It's sort of an inside straight, playing it the way Romney's playing it. But listen to what Manning is saying. You mark my words. Romney should forget about campaigning or dumping money into Ohio. Let Ohio go to Obama, because he's not going to win it. There's just too many automobile workers in Ohio that Romney slammed and said, let them go, let the auto industry fail. Work Pennsylvania. Work Pennsylvania. And he really needs to get somebody out there with some strength that got some black skin on their face and put them in Philadelphia and have somebody talk to the black people in Philadelphia. Romney needs to find somebody with some black skin on their faces, or on their face, and go into Philadelphia and go into Harrisburg and go into Pittsburgh and say why it's a good thing to vote for Romney. Of course, it wouldn't be me. I'd never do anything like that. But there are plenty of people out there with black faces that would do that. You know, and this is the kind of strategy, and it very well may come to that.
All right, there you go. So it was Manning, little tamer than we've heard him in the past, but nonetheless, there you have it. All right, this is another one of these weird stories here. You know, there seems to be common sense kind of is going out the window, don't you think? I mean, as we're getting closer and over the years, and as, you know, things accelerate, we see more stupidity in the world. I see it, you see it, we all see it. And it seems to happen more and more in public settings, and especially when we hear that government is really trying to clamp down or be more restrictive in different ways, or have security procedures like the TSA that is questionable and the airport stuff. It seems like in all of these moments where the stupid stuff really happens. Anyway, what we got here is a flight attendant tries to bring a loaded gun to the airport security. Flight attendant. So, here we go. A Republic Airlines flight attendant was detained and then charged with disorderly conduct after she attempted to pass through the security at the Philadelphia International Airport with a loaded .38 revolver in her purse, triggering an incident in which police accidentally discharged the weapon while securing it. According to officials, at 6:33 a.m. today, the flight attendant entered a Terminal C security checkpoint lane with a loaded .38 caliber Smith & Wesson airweight revolver in her purse. A TSA, Security Transportation Security Administration employee discovered the gun on the X-ray machine and notified police. The flight attendant was taken to the secondary screening room where an airport police officer attempted to unload the gun and discharged it into a wall. There were no injuries to passengers, employees, or police, officials say. The flight attendant, identified by ABC station WPVI-TV in Philadelphia as Jacqueline Lubby of Westchester, Pennsylvania, had a valid Chester County permit to carry a concealed police weapon. The weapon was confiscated and forwarded to the Chester County Sheriff, and the weapon, an airweight revolver, was confiscated by the crime scene unit and transported to and for testing. She was charged with disorderly conduct as per airport unit policy. The officer who accidentally discharged the flight gun is on desk duty pending completion of an internal investigation. So there you go. There you go. You got a flight attendant brings a gun. First of all, why does the flight attendant need the gun? Second, if you're flying and your flight attendant has a gun, is that a good thing to know that she's there in case there's some protection needed? We live in a crazy world, so is something like that needed? But how do you feel knowing that your flight attendant might have a gun and then she's able to go through security process? You know, I guess it's just one of these crazy things, but the crazy part is that somebody who is supposed to know how to take the gun apart discharges it. Yeah. Not much you can say there. All right. This is Dutch Sense here.
Dutch Sense here. 12:05 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday, September 25th, 2012. And I'm over here on a video that you need to watch. It's a 4-part video pertaining to the town hall meeting that was held this past Thursday night down in Bayou Corn, Louisiana. And it's regarding the sinkhole, the ongoing sinkhole situation. And if you go watch this, this is very disturbing. No professionals, no emergency managers, no local officials, no state officials, no federal officials showed up to this multi-hundred-person town hall meeting for the people of Bayou Corn, Louisiana, asking questions, trying to figure out what's going on. So they were looking to ask some questions of the professionals who did not show. So when you watch this, you'll see multiple people get up and ask for help They literally are begging for help to get the federal government involved because state and local officials have completely ignored them. And one person suggested creating a petition, to which all the people clapped. And they didn't know what they were doing or how to do it, so I went ahead and started the petition. I started it on whitehouse.gov, and here it is. You have to be a U.S. citizen to sign it, and I want this to get out to all the people of Louisiana. If you live in New Orleans, this affects you too. You are downwind from that site. This is crucial. We're talking about a multi-mile area that's now giving off huge amounts of natural gas. And it's just a matter of time now before a further collapse happens at the sinkhole. So I don't know if it's grown more in the last day. We'll have to wait and see. Every day it grows closer to the 1.5 million barrels of liquid butane in the adjacent dome held 1,500 feet away. And it has since collapsed further towards that area. So the local people are asking for help. They literally beg for help and ask for a petition to be created to get the national federal resources involved and to take it out of state and local officials' hands. And that's what I've done. We need many signatures on this. We need 25,000 legitimate signatures, which requires you to sign up at whitehouse.gov, give your name and give your email, and to really go on the record for this. Okay, now I've signed it already. Let me hit refresh. I already put this out on Facebook. Okay, 21 people have already signed it. That's great. This is great. So I need your help. We need to get this out to the people of Louisiana. It does require you to sign up on here and to give a legitimate email address, and you have to be a U.S. citizen. So maybe the people of New Orleans, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, okay, any of these areas downwind from Bayou Corn, you need to be concerned. Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, the state of Louisiana. And if the butane dome were to blow, if it were to blow, 1.5 million barrels of butane is equal to 100 Hiroshima bombs if it were to all blow at once. And if it were to all come out over a course of time, it still would be the equivalent of 100 Hiroshima bombs. And that's just simple calculations. Now they're hoping that no air gets inside there, no gas gets inside of that butane dome, which would allow that to happen all at once. So right now, we're looking at a potential huge natural disaster affecting the entire southeast United States. Right now, it's Louisiana. Could affect the entire United States. Okay? Please, sign the petition, folks. I need your help.
All right, good job in getting the petition out there. And let's see. Usually he has links here. There you go. If you're going to sign the petition, I'll have this link available. Here's the link right here. You click on the link. You got two of them. You got a short link here. And if you click the link, okay, that one doesn't take you right there. This one here. I see. It takes you to the redirect page. And there you go. There's the page right there. And you can go down. And all you have to do is just go ahead and sign it up. You see they're getting a number of signatures already. 285. So, good deal. All right. So the link's available, so you can go ahead and add your signature to it as well, because, you know, we need to take care of each other down here. Not a political kind of thing. We need to take care of each other, because if we don't, the governments have stopped doing it. Main reason, think about the people that are working in the governments that you have met. People just like you, that have families, that have problems that they're dealing with, are dealing with the same environment issues that you're dealing with, the same energies that are being dealt with in life. They're going through all the same issues. So, you know, when you have a situation in life, you want to take care of your own stuff, right? You want to take care of your families, your friends. Same thing. Just because the people in the government doesn't mean that they're all competent and 100% able to assist with all of these situations. So perhaps there aren't those available down in Orleans that are professionals that are able to go help them. That's where the people need to step up. And as the people step up, it'll find that there's a number of professionals amongst them, people that understand, that have expertises, and will just help each other out, because that's how it's going to have to be. We find that governments are going to be too overwhelmed. They're not going to know what to do. So, okay. All right, here's some really good stuff. This is Tesla Motors launches revolutionary supercharger enabling convenient long-distance driving. Today, Tesla unveiled its highly anticipated supercharger network constructed in secret. Tesla revealed the locations of the first 6 supercharger stations, which will allow the Model S to travel a long distance with ultra-fast charging throughout California, parts of Nevada, and Arizona. The technology at the heart of the supercharger was developed internally and leverages the economics of scale of existing charging technology already used by Model S, enabling Tesla to create the supercharger device at minimal cost. The electricity used by the supercharger comes from a solar carport system provided by Solar City, which results in almost zero marginal energy cost after installation. Combining these two factors, Tesla is able to provide Model S owners free long-distance travel indefinitely. Well, that's pretty awesome. And supporting this article is another one here, all about supercharger from TeslaMotors.com itself. And you can find out all about what the supercharger is, how it works, and so on and so forth. So pretty good, pretty good. All right, so that's bringing us up to the last part of our show here, or at this point it's the reading of Warrior of the Light. Moving right along, I'm up to the 59th passage. You know, I want to backtrack for a moment. As we were doing the earlier report and Terence McKenna was playing, and my phone got an update and said I needed to do its update. And did I want to do it? And clicked OK. And then it goes on its own. And it got me thinking that, you know, with computers and with technology, there's a built-in system that the programmers build into it on updating itself on a regular basis, so it stays updated with all that's going on. So just imagine if that technology exists, and that in a device that we use, and the ability to update. Just imagine how much more that exists on a bigger scale for each and every individual on this planet. So 2012 is, and this period we're going through, is like the updates that come to your phone or your computers. It's an upgrade that happens because the energy and everything around is supporting and is affecting those changes to happen. So that was it. Just an interesting analogy that went off, and I just thought I would share that with you. Anyway, let's get over to our Warrior of the Light reading for today. Here we go. All right. A warrior of the light is reliable. He makes a few mistakes. He sometimes thinks he is more important than he really is, but he does not lie. When people gather around the fire, he talks to his friends, male and female. He knows that his words are stored in the memory of the universe, like a testimony of what he thinks. The warrior asks himself, "Why do I talk so much, when often I am incapable of carrying out everything I say?" His heart replies, "When you defend your ideas in public, you then have to make an effort to live accordingly." It is because he believes that what he says is that the warrior ends up becoming precisely that. The warrior knows that there are occasional pauses in the struggle. There is no point in forcing things. He must have patience and wait for the two sides to clash again. In the silence of the battlefield, he listens to his heart beating. He notices that he is tense and afraid. The warrior takes stock of his life. He makes sure that his sword is sharp, his heart satisfied, that faith still burns in his soul. He knows that maintenance is important as action. A warrior knows that an angel and a devil are both competing for his sword hand. The devil says, "You will weaken. You will not know exactly when. You are afraid." The angel says, You will weaken. You will not know exactly when. You are afraid. The warrior is surprised. Both the angel and the devil have said the same thing. The devil continues, "Let me help you." And the angel says, "I will help you." At that moment, the warrior understands the difference. The words may be the same, but these two allies are completely different. And he chooses the angel's hand. Whenever the warrior draws his sword, he uses it. It can be used to clear a path, to help someone to fend off danger. But a sword is a capricious thing and does not like to see its blade exposed for no reason. That is why the warrior never makes threats. He can attack, defend himself, or flee. All of these attitudes form part of combat. It is not, however, part of combat to diminish the force of a blow by talking about it. A warrior of the light is always alert to the movements of his sword, but he never forgets that the sword is watching his every move as well. The sword was not made to be used by the mouth. Sometimes evil pursues the warrior of the light, and when it does, he calmly invites it into his tent. He asks evil, "Do you want to hurt me, or use me to hurt others?" Evil pretends not to hear. It says that it knows of the darkness in the warrior's soul. It touches wounds that have not yet healed and calls for vengeance. It mentions certain tricks and subtle poisons that will help him to destroy his enemies. The warrior of the light listens. If conversation lags, he encourages evil to continue talking by asking all about its various plans. When he has heard everything, he gets up and leaves. Evil feels so weary and empty after all the talk that it does not have the strength to follow him. The warrior of the light unwittingly takes a false step and plunges into the abyss. Ghosts frighten him and solitude torments him. His aim has been to fight the good fight, and he has never imagined that this would happen to him, but it did. Shrouded in darkness, he makes contact with his master. "Master, I have fallen into the abyss," he says. "The waters are deep and dark." "Remember one thing," replies his master. "You do not drown simply by plunging into water. You only drown if you stay beneath the surface." And the warrior uses all his strength to escape from his predicament. So take a deep breath. Allow the words of the warrior of the light to absorb into your being. Allow them to open the storehouse of memory. And as you do so, you realize all of these qualities already exist within you. And as you remember the warrior of light within you, you remember the great strength that you have to effect change upon this planet. And you know that together with all the other warriors of light upon this planet, change is not only possible, but change is assured. For the warriors of light upon this planet will make sure that it happens. Each and every one will do their part. Imagine all of your chakras are activated, all of your energy fields fully energized. And from your heart chakra, send out love all around the planet. Send out love and light to all of the other warriors of light, to all other beings on this planet. Light of love, light of encouragement, light of faith. And let us bring our energy and attention back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. All right, there you go. We've made it through another show. Thanks for being here. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.